Hi, welcome to the English class. I am your teacher, English teacher, Mr. Sheikh. Today we are going to learn Unit 1, Prose, The Enchanted Pool, written by Chakravarti Rajagopalacharya. Before going to that one, let us see the introduction. This lesson has been taken from one of the short stories from Mahabharata. Ramayana and Mahabharata are the two great epics of our country. These two are granary of all kinds of knowledge and depict our tradition and culture. Our youngsters should be aware of these two great epics. So, this extract of Mahabharata is given for learning. The teacher and parents should provide more knowledge about these two great epics. Now, before going to that one, you have to read. When we talk about people, we discuss their qualities. The box given below had some words which describe people. Now classify these particulars words there into desirable and not so desirable categories. We may consult a dictionary also or your teacher. Now some of the words have been given here: courage, amicability, gentleness, sympathy, kindness, helpfulness, enthusiasm, wisdom, affection, honesty, selfishness, cruelty, humility, faithfulness, endurance, perseverance, determination, negligence, callousness, carelessness, arrogance. Now, in desirable qualities, what are the desirable qualities there? Courage, amicability, gentleness, sympathy, kindness, helpfulness, enthusiasm, wisdom, affection, honesty, faithfulness, endurance, perseverance, and determination. And not so desirable qualities: selfishness, cruelty, humility, negligence, callousness, carelessness, arrogance. Perhaps you have some ideas about what the good and bad qualities are. Now, before that one, we have to read or know about them from Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas. Before going to that one, let us see about the author. The author, C. Rajagopalachari, popularly known as Rajaji, was an Indian politician, independence activist, lawyer, writer, and statesman. He was the last Governor General of India. He was born on 10th December 1878 in Thorapalli and died on 25th December 1972 at Chennai. He got Bharat Ratna Award. He wrote many books, among them Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, he displayed the unique aptitude of telling story and applying their moral principles of modern times. Now, let us see about the lesson, the enchanted pool. In the Mahabharata, the Pandavas lost everything in the game of dice to the Kauravas and had to live in the forest for 12 years. During this period, they had to constantly move from place to place for safety and to meet their daily needs. One day, in the 12th year, the Pandavas brothers wandered deep into the forest in pursuit of deer. The sun was hot overhead, and the five brothers grew more and more weary and thirsty. Yudhishthir sank down under a tree to rest and said to Nakula, "Brother, climb that tree and see whether there is any pool or river nearby." Nakula climbed the tree, looked around, and said, "At a little distance, I see water, plants, and cranes. There must be certainly be water there." Yudhishthira sent him to fetch some water to drink. Nakula was glad when he got to the place and saw there was a pool. He was very thirsty himself and so thought of quenching his thirst first before taking water in the quack for his brothers. But no sooner did he dip his hand in the transparent water when he heard a voice which said, "Stop, Nakula, do not drink. This pool belongs to me. O son of Madari, answer my questions, and then drink the water. Nakula was surprised, but carried away by his intense thirst and heedless of the warning. He knelt down and began to drink the water. At once, he began to feel terribly drowsy and fell down to all appearance dead. Now, let us see in these two paragraphs the meaning said. In these two paragraphs, enchanted. The meaning of enchanted here is placed under a magic spell. Crane means a white bird with a long leg and long neck. Quench. Quench means satisfy thirst by drinking something. Quaver. Case of arrows. Drowsy means sleepy. To all appearance dead. The meaning of this one is they seemed to be dead, but not really so. Now, let us see. In third paragraph, when Nakula did not return for a long time, Yudhishthira sent Sahadev to see what the matter was. Sahadeva also ignored the warning. He drank the water and at once dropped down. When Sahadeva too failed to return, Yudhishthira sent Arjuna to see whether the brothers had met with any danger. Arjuna went swiftly. He saw his brothers lying dead near the pool. Heartbroken with grief, he wanted to avenge their deaths. However, he too was overwhelmed by a monstrous thirst which compelled him towards the fatal pool. Again, the warning voice was heard. Answer my questions before you drink the water. This pool is mine. If you disobey me, you will follow your brothers. Arjuna became very angry. He cried, "Who are you? Come and stand up to me, and I will kill you." He shot sharp arrows in the direction of the voice. The invisible being laughed in scorn and said, "Your arrows can't touch me." Arjuna wanted to destroy this unseen foe, but first he had to quench his terrible thirst, so he drank the water and also fell down dead. Another anxious wait, Yudhishthira turned to Bhima. "Dear brother, even Arjuna, the great hero, has not returned. Something terrible must have happened to our brothers. Please find them quickly." Bhima hurried away without another word. Like Arjuna, Bhima also did not heed the warning and drank water eagerly, glaring around in defiance. And instantly, his great strength seemed to slip from him like a garment, and he also fell dead among his brothers. Puzzled and worried that his brothers had not returned, Yudhishthira himself proceeded in the direction his brothers had taken. When he came near a pool, he saw his four brothers lying on the ground, to all appearances dead. He was shocked. He got into the pool to quench his thirst. At once, a voice without form warned him, "Your brothers died because they did not heed my words. Do not allow them. Answer my questions first and then quench your thirst. This pool is mine." Yudhishthira knew that these could be none other than the words of Yaksha and guessed what had happened to his brothers. He saw a possible way of redeeming the situation. He saw the bodiless voice. "Please ask your questions." The voice put questions rapidly. Now, from third paragraph to paragraph number 7. Now, let us see the meanings in these paragraphs. Heed. The meaning of heed here is to pay careful attention to somebody's advice or warning. Drop down. Drop down means fall down. Heartbroken means extremely sad. Avenge. To do something to hurt or punish somebody. Overwhelm. strong emotional effect that one feels and does not know how to react. Anxious. Anxious means worried. Defiance means open refusal to obey somebody or something. Yaksha. Yaksha here he is referred as semi-divine, divine being. Now, paragraph number 8. When Yudhishthira asked the what you call as, please ask your question to the voice there, the voice started asking the question to Yudhishthira there. It asked, what makes sunshine every day? Yudhishthira replied, the power of God. Next question is, what rescues man in danger? Yudhishthira quickly answered, courage. What is more nobly sustaining than the earth? Yudhishthira said, the mother who brings up the children. What is faster than wind? Yudhishthira replied, mind is faster than the wind. What befriends a traveler? Yudhishthira said, learning. Who is the friend of one who stays at home? Answer is the wife. Who accompanies a man in death? Yudhishthira said, dharma. That alone accompanies the soul in its solitary journey after death. Which is the biggest vessel? The earth, which contains all within itself, is the greatest vessel. What is happiness? Happiness is the result of good conduct. What is that abandoning which man becomes loved by all? Pride, said Yudhishthira. For abandoning that man will be loved by all. What is the loss which brings joy and not sorrow? Yudhishthira replied, anger. He says, giving anger it up, we will no longer be subjected to sorrow. Next, again, Yaksha asked one more question there. What is that by giving up which man becomes wealthy? Yudhishthira replied, desire. Getting rid of it, man becomes wealthy. What makes one a real Brahmana? Is it birth, good conduct, or learning? Answer decisively. Birth and learning do not make one a Brahman. Good conduct alone does. However, learned a person may be, he will not be a Brahmana if he is a slave of two bad habits. What is the greatest wonder in the world? Yudhishthira replied, every day man sees creature depart to Yama's abode, and yet those who remain seek to live forever. This verily is the greatest wonder. Thus the Yaksha posed many questions, and Yudhishthira answered them all. In the end, the Yaksha asked, O king, one of your dead brother can now be revived. Whom do you want revived? He shall come back to life. Yudhishthira thought for a moment and then replied, may the cloud complexioned, lotus eyed, broad chested, and long armed Nakula, lying like a fallen ebony tree, arise. The Yaksha was pleased at this and asked Yudhishthira, why did you choose Nakula in preference to Bhima, who was the strength of 16,000 elephants? I have heard that Bhima is most dear to you, and why not Arjuna, whose prowess in arms is your protection? Tell me why you choose Nakula rather than either of these two. Yudhishthira replied, O Yaksha, Kunti and Madari are the two wives of my father. I am surviving a son of Kunti, and so she is not completely bereaved. So, to be fair, I ask that Madari's son Nakula may revive. The Yaksha was pleased with Yudhishthira's impartiality and granted that all his brothers would come back to life. Now, let us see the meanings from these paragraphs. Redeem. The meaning of redeem is to make a bad situation better. Nobly sustaining. The meaning of nobly sustaining means gently supporting. Verily means really. Revive means to bring back. Now, paragraph number 14. It was Yama, the lord of death, who had taken the form of the deer and the yaksha so that he might see his son Yudhishthir and test him. He embraced Yudhishthir and blessed him. Yama said, only a few days remain to complete the stipulated period of your exile in the forest. The 13th year will also pass by. None of your enemies will be able to discover you. You will successfully fulfill your undertaking. And saying this, he disappeared. Now, the meaning of bereave means deprive. Prowess means great skill at doing something. Bereaved means a person is bereaved if a relative of close friend has just passed away. Now, let us see the brief summary of this lesson, Tadpole. The Enchanted Pool is an extract taken from Mahabharata by C. Rajgopalacharya. The enchanted pool means the magical pond created by Yamadharmaraya, father of Yudhishthira, in the form of Yaksha. Yamadharmaraja wanted to test his son Dharmaraya, Yudhishthir, and bless him, which will help the Pandavas their Ajnatavas. The story started as below. The five of Pandava's brothers pursued a deer, but the deer evaded by Pandavas. They followed it, but it was in vain. It was summer afternoon. They were all tired and thirsty. All the five come to a tree and sit down to take rest. Dharmaraya sends Nakula to fetch some water. Nakula climbed a tree and looked around. The guessed that there must be a water in surrounding place. So he went and found the pool. When he went to drink the water, a voice was heard that forbid him to drink the water. He was surprised and did not heed the voice and drank the water. He fell down when Nakula did not return. Yudhishthira sent Sahadev. He also did not heed voice and drank the water. He fell dead. After that, Arjuna, Bhima, the same. At last, Yudhishthira came to the pool. He saw his four brothers lying dead on the ground. He was shocked and wanted to quench his thirst, but a voice warned him not to drink the water. It asked him to first he should answer the question because that pool belonged to it. Yudhishthira, he knows it that it was none other than the Yaksha and guessed what had happened to his brothers. So he decided answer to questions. The Yaksha asked the following questions. What makes the sun shine every day? Yudhishthira says, the power of God. What rescues man in danger? Yudhishthira says, courage. What is more nobly sustaining than the earth? Yudhishthira replied, the mother who brings up the children. Yaksha asked, what is faster than wind? Yudhishthira said, it is the mind. What befriends a traveler? Yudhishthira says, learning. Who is the friend of one who stays at home? Yudhishthira says, the wife. Again Yaksha asked, who accompanies a man in death? Yudhishthira replied, Dharma, that alone accompanies the soul in its solitary journey after death. Solitary means alone. Because if man will die, he will go whether to the hell or to the heaven, he has to go alone after his death. Nobody will accompany him. Which is the biggest vessel? Yudhishthira replied, the earth is the biggest vessel there. It contains all within itself. That is why it is the greatest vessel. What is happiness? Yaksha asked. Yudhishthira replied, happiness is the result of good conduct. If human being will do the good things, then definitely he will be remembered forever and ever. And whenever you will do the good things there, then definitely happiness will be there. Happiness will come to you. Then Yaksha questioned, what is that abandoning which man becomes loved by all? Yudhishthira replied, he says, pride. If you will abandon the pride, then definitely man will be loved by all. If you have the pride there, nobody will love you, nobody will come nearer to you there. Then again Yaksha asked, what is the loss which brings joy and not sorrow? Yudhishthir, he says, anger. Giving it up, we will no longer be subjected to sorrow. That's why anger is the most dangerous thing there. That's why you have to give it up. If you will give it up, then definitely sorrow will go away. What is that by giving up which man becomes wealthy? Yudhishthira says, desire. Getting rid of it, man becomes wealthy. Then again, Yaksha questioned, what makes a man one a real Brahman? Is it birth, good conduct, or learning? But he says, answer decisively. Yudhishthira replied, birth and learning do not make one a Brahman. Good conduct alone does. However learned a person may be, he will not be a Brahmana if he is a slave to bad habits. Then, last question has been asked by Yaksha is, what is the greatest wonder in the world? Yudhishthira answered, every day men see creatures depart to Yama's abode, and yet those who remain seek to live forever. This verily is the greatest wonder. That is what life goes on. If anybody will die, how long? How long we will feel unhappy, how long the sorrows will go, but one day or another we will forget it and we have to go forward. Thus, Yudhishthira answered satisfactorily to all the questions of Yaksha. So, Yaksha became happy and asked him to choose one of his brothers who can be revived. Whom does he want to be revived? Yudhishthira asked Nakula to be revived. Yudhishthira's attitude, Yaksha was pleased and again asked Yudhishthira why he chose Nakula other than Bhima or Arjuna. Yudhishthira explained that he was the son of Kunti and one of Madari's son should be alive because Kunti and Madari were the two wives of his father. Yaksha was pleased with Yudhishthira's impartiality and granted that all his brothers would come back to life. Thus Yama tested his son. In the end, he embraced Yudhishthira and blessed him. He disappeared from the scene. Thank you.